No, I did not see it coming. I was getting ready for my prom, getting out the shower, and I got a call from Jay Brown, who works for Jay-Z, and he just told me, it was a nice run, kiddo, but, we gotta let you go. So that was the end of it, and I just kept it to myself for like 6 months. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want to deal with the questioning and all of that, so I just kept it to myself, and finally people started hearing it through the grapevine.
You kind of had like a mentor relationship with Jay-Z during that time?
Yeah, he was definitely a mentor. He was like a father figure.
Teairra Mari hasn't forgotten how the music industry used her, and she is still not forgiving those who basically killed her career because they were too scared of her talent. And she's pointing fingers directly at Beyoncé and Rihanna for being the problem. She went from Roc-A-Fella's golden girl to broke, blackballed, and blamed for her own downfall. 1 minute she was the industry's next big thing, and the next minute she was fighting lawsuits, bad press, 50 Cent, and getting dropped like a bad business deal. And now Teairra says it wasn't an accident. According to her, something very similar to what Nicki Minaj has been saying, Roc Nation ran a shady game, took Teairra's money from her debut album, and then lined her up as a threat against Beyoncé and Rihanna, knowing full well that she would never be allowed to win. So the real question is, did Jay-Z sacrifice Teairra Mari because Beyoncé and Rihanna were scared of her talent? Let's dig in.
Of the rock,
she's the princess.
The princess.
Yeah.
Okay, and what sets her apart as an artist from other R&B vocalists, female, that you think?
I just say she's young. You know what I'm saying? So the integrity and the truth in what she's saying. You know what I'm saying? Mixed with how she's really a sweet, innocent girl if you speak to her. You know what I'm saying? But she's seen a lot, so her twist on it and her take on it is unique.
So with the way Teairra Mari's career kicked off, it felt like she was only going to go up to an elite status. Teairra's mentor, Big Mike of Kiss Productions, had been passing her demo around to a few music execs until it eventually landed on L.A. Reid's table. And it only took one listen for Reid to notice that Teairra was a star in the making and signed her to Roc-A-Fella/Def Jam Records right after she turned 16. But it wasn't just her voice that got her attention. Teairra was young, pretty, and had this urban look that both L.A. Reid and Jay-Z believed would make her a commercial success, first with the Black community and later with other audiences as her brand continued to expand. They set out with a plan for Teairra, carefully branding and everything. So by the time she released her debut single, Make Her Feel Good, in 2005, it did insane numbers. Now, Teairra was still a teenager, and when the song came out, there was a lot of talk about whether people would vibe to the song, especially when it was put out by somebody so young. But the way the song quickly took over and got people looking for Teairra, Jay-Z knew that they had struck gold with this one and went in on her. She was tagged Princess of Roc Nation, and Teairra's face was everywhere from red carpets to interviews. Just as the label was going to support her and build the momentum, things started to fizzle out. Not because Teairra didn't want it, but label politics started to play out and she was caught right in the middle. Roc-A-Fella was having serious creative and financial difficulties. They couldn't agree on artists and the direction they wanted to go with them, and it didn't help that Jay-Z wanted more say-so and control moving forward. Ultimately, the drama ended with Jay-Z being the president of Roc-A-Fella and effectively taking control. And what Teairra didn't know was that Jay-Z taking control meant nothing good for her career, because all it took was a few words from Beyoncé to turn the whole situation on its head. Beyoncé was already Jay-Z's girlfriend at the time, and she was gaining popularity not just from Destiny's Child, but from her own solo success with her first solo album, Dangerously in Love. So anything Beyoncé said as an artist, especially in the R&B space, carried heavy weight. One day when the girls were performing, Beyoncé arrived just in time to watch, and by the time they were done, she walked up to L.A. Reid and simply told him that Rihanna was a beast. She didn't say or do too much, but there was enough to push Rihanna to the forefront.
I signed Rihanna, and we had a showcase. And at the showcase, there were two artists performing. Her name is Teairra Mari, and she's a really sweet girl. And the truth is, I was paying a little more attention to her than I was to Rihanna. After the showcase, Beyonce just gave me one of those looks, and he said, that Rihanna girl, she's a beast. And she looked away, right? And I was like, so I did a Rihanna double take. You know, but it wasn't as though I didn't believe in Rihanna. I love that girl, right? But I paid a little more attention when Beyonce said that to me.
Rihanna started singing Beyonce's praises, saying that every artist should be like her, and a cosign from Jay-Z kept the ball rolling. But I'm guessing she did all of that because she knew that Def Jam didn't start paying attention to her out of nowhere, because up until the label shakeup, the focus had been on Teairra Mari.
I love her.
And so has she given you any kind of advice or?
Yeah, she actually wrote me this cute little letter and she signed it with her autograph. It was so cute. When I first met her, and she wrote, she was telling me just let loose when you perform and just have fun and be in control. Beyonce, definitely. I just thought she was, well, the first thing I saw, was her beauty and how beautiful she was. And then I listened to her music and I loved her music. She's incredibly talented. I think she's what every female artist should strive to be or strive to be like, because she, despite all her success, she still remains humble.
Now, Rihanna and Beyonce are not friends, and from the way that things are going, they may never be friends. They are more like frenemies than anything else. And Beyonce and Rihanna have never done a song together despite Riri being signed to Jay-Z's label. So why did Beyonce do this? Did she do this as a favor for Jay, or was it that she saw some undeniable talent in Rihanna? Well, if you ask Teairra Mari, pushing Rihanna to the forefront was reportedly Beyonce's way to dig at her without looking like she was doing too much. Reports were talking about how Beyonce saw Teairra as major competition for her brand. The thing is, after the release of her debut single, everyone was comparing Teairra Mari to Beyonce because the two of them were quite similar in their music and performance style. When her debut album, Roc-A-Fella Records Presents Teairra Mari, dropped, a music critic for the Rolling Stone, Christian Howard, said, "Apparently Jay-Z just can't get enough of Beyonce, having scored The Real Thing as his girlfriend. The Def Jam Prez is releasing records from a couple of pretty young things who obviously spent some time studying Miss B's playbook. The debut from Detroit native Teairra Mari is full of nosing, crooning, and sex appeal." The comparison got to the point that Def Jam fed into it by giving Teairra Beyonce's parts and Destiny's Child's Lose My Breath, while Rihanna took Kelly's part, setting up Teairra as the next it girl. Since she was just getting started in her solo career, Beyonce didn't care for the competition and decided to cut it from the root before it became too messy. And with Jay-Z as her boyfriend, all she really needed was a few words.
What happened was I got dropped from Roc-A-Fella on my prom day. They didn't know.
For the prom?
Yeah, honey, getting ready. I was putting lotion on my legs, got a phone call, ring, ring. Hey, yeah, we're gonna be letting you go. I was like, oh. I didn't even tell anybody that day. But, I was depressed for a little minute. I got back up. I was only 18 years of age, so it was time to get back up, get back out there, and just show my resilience. And that's what I'm doing now. And I'm here, new deal with Warner Brothers, for real, so God is good, baby.
Everyone thought that Rihanna was just going to be this one-hit wonder and wouldn't stand the test of time. So imagine Beyonce's surprise now that Rihanna's name is being mentioned in the same conversations as her name, and also with some other folks, even saying that Rihanna might be the more successful artist. Ouch. But after all their scheming, the one who got the shorter end of the stick was Teairra Mari. She got dropped right as she was preparing for prom, and Jay-Z didn't even bother to call her after claiming that he was always going to look out for her. That was the first time Teairra realized that there was really no friends in the game, and they were all going to say anything she wanted to hear as long as it lined their pockets. She tried not to let it get to her and signed a new deal with Warner Brothers, but once the momentum is lost, it really is hard to get back, and it just never felt the same. She still had bops like Sponsor for some weird reason. Some shows like BET's 106 & Park refused to play it. BET even banned the video for her song, saying that it was detrimental to young women. Like, really? All of the songs that they've been playing for years, and somehow they got a conscience when it came to Teairra? Mind you, this was around the time that Rihanna's star was rising globally. Yeah, someone was definitely working behind the scenes to remove all competition. So when Sponsor didn't give Teairra the push that she needed, she decided to switch gears and give Love and Hip Hop a try. But girl, that was basically career suicide because it did nothing for her image and probably left her in much worse shape than she started. Her career in music got so derailed that Teairra was never really able to reach her full potential, and the internet is talking about how it wasn't fair for her to get sidelined like. And then there's this entire beef with 50 Cent, who made sure to end whatever was left of her career because she owes him 30 grand. As usual, people are still talking about how unfair the industry was to her. Teairra Mari was the girl we knew, and I was so surprised where she went until I saw her again on Love and Hip Hop. I guess Teairra wasn't willing to play the game with them. Also, maybe Teairra wasn't fawning over Beyonce like everyone else does when they meet her. I love Rihanna as a singer and a businesswoman, and she sings songs that fit her voice, but her singing is not beast mode. Beyonce was wrong for that. Yes, Beyonce may have felt some competition with Teairra. But what do you think about this? Was Teairra Mari a force to be reckoned with and Beyonce had to get her up out the way? Sound off in the comments and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, baddies.